The unexpected crash. The spaceship, Orion's Call, was cruising silently through the vast emptiness of space. Captain Leon Hunter leaned back in his seat, exhausted but relieved. It was supposed to be a routine supply mission to a nearby colony, a job he had done a dozen times before. Nothing exciting ever happened on these runs, and he was fine with that. But that night, something went wrong. It started with a faint hum, a sound so subtle that Leon thought it was just the ship's usual vibrations. Then the hum grew louder, sharper, until it was a deafening roar. Lights flickered, alarms blared, and the control panel erupted in a chaotic dance of warning signals. System malfunction detected, the ship's AI announced in a calm, mechanical voice. Course deviation imminent. Leon's heart raced as he grabbed the controls. The stars outside the cockpit blurred as the ship spiraled out of control. "What's happening?" he shouted, though no one was there to answer. Suddenly, the ship was caught in the gravitational pull of a planet he didn't recognize. It wasn't on his charts, a rogue, uncharted world. The ship hurtled through the atmosphere, fire streaking across its hull. Leon barely managed to activate the emergency landing sequence before everything went black. When Leon woke up, the world was quiet, save for the gentle sound of waves crashing in the distance. His head throbbed, and his body ached as he unbuckled himself from the pilot's seat. The ship was in pieces, scattered across a sandy shore. Smoke rose from the wreckage, and the air smelled of salt and burning metal. He stumbled out of the cockpit, coughing and shielding his eyes from the harsh sunlight. Surrounding him was a strange tropical island. Towering trees with blue leaves stretched toward the sky, their roots twisting like the limbs of ancient creatures. Birds, or something like birds, chirped in the distance, their calls melodic yet unfamiliar. Leon took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "All right, Hunter, one step at a time," he muttered, his voice the only sound in the eerie stillness. The first task was survival. He scavenged what he could from the wreckage: a small pack of rations, a survival knife, and a broken communication device. His hopes of calling for help dwindled as he realized the device was beyond repair. As the hours passed, he explored the island cautiously. Strange, glowing plants lined the forest floor, lighting his path like dim lanterns. He kept his knife ready, his senses on high alert. The feeling of being watched gnawed at him. But whenever he turned around, there was nothing but trees and shadows. Then he found it. In the heart of the island, hidden beneath layers of vines and moss, was a structure unlike anything Leon had ever seen. It was massive, made of smooth black metal that shimmered faintly under the sunlight. The architecture was alien, with spiraling towers and intricate carvings that seemed to pulse with an inner glow. Curiosity and fear battled within him, but curiosity won. Leon pushed aside the vines covering the entrance and stepped inside. The air was cooler here, heavy with the scent of earth and something metallic. The walls were lined with strange symbols that shifted and danced when he tried to focus on them. As he ventured deeper, he found himself in a large chamber. At the center was a pod, oval-shaped, sleek, and glowing softly. It hummed with energy, and Leon felt a strange pull toward it. Cautiously, he approached the pod. Through the translucent surface, he could make out a figure, a woman. Her skin was a pale blue, her hair a shimmering silver that floated around her as if she were underwater. Her features were delicate, almost human, but undeniably alien. Leon's breath caught in his throat. What are you?" he whispered. Before he could think of what to do next, the pod emitted a sharp beep, and the glow around it intensified. The symbols on the walls began to glow as well, casting the chamber in a surreal light. Then the ground trembled. A deep guttural growl echoed from the shadows. Leon spun around, gripping his knife tightly. The sound came again, closer this time. It was unlike any animal he had ever heard, low, rumbling, and filled with menace. The pod's glow grew brighter, and the woman inside stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing a piercing, otherworldly gaze. She looked at Leon, then at the shadows creeping closer. She raised a hand, pressing it against the inside of the pod's glass. Leon didn't need to understand her language to know she was warning him. Run. The growl turned into a roar, and from the darkness emerged a massive, clawed creature, half metal, half beast. Its glowing red eyes locked onto Leon. Adrenaline surged through his veins as he backed away, his mind racing. The alien woman's eyes were desperate now, her hand still pressed against the glass. And then the pod began to crack, awakening the unknown. The pod cracked open with a hiss, releasing a burst of cold vapor that filled the chamber. Leon froze, his knife still clutched tightly in his hand. The alien woman stepped out, her movements slow and deliberate. She was taller than he had expected, her silver hair shimmering like liquid starlight. Her eyes glowed faintly, a piercing blue that seemed to see straight through him. Before Leon could speak, the ground shook again, and the guttural roar reverberated through the chamber. The creature, a horrifying fusion of organic muscle and alien metal, lunged from the shadows. Its claws scraped against the metallic walls, leaving deep gouges as it charged toward them. The alien woman raised her hand and uttered a single word in her strange, melodic language. The sound echoed, almost musical, but with a commanding power. The creature stopped mid-charge, its mechanical limbs jerking violently, as though resisting an invisible force. Leon's eyes widened. "What did you do?" he asked, his voice trembling. The woman turned to him, her expression calm but urgent. She gestured toward the tunnel behind them, then at him, and then pointed outward. It was clear. Run. But Leon wasn't going anywhere without answers. "Who are you? What's happening here?" She frowned, her glowing eyes narrowing, as if she was searching for the right words. Finally, she tapped her chest and said, "Virala." Then she pointed at him, waiting. "Leon," he replied hesitantly. "Captain Leon Hunter." Before more could be exchanged, the creature roared again, its body convulsing as it broke free from whatever hold Virala had placed on it. She grabbed Leon's arm and pulled him toward the tunnel. Her grip was strong, almost too strong, and Leon had no choice but to follow. The tunnel twisted and turned, the walls lined with the same shifting symbols he'd seen earlier. The deeper they went, the darker it became, until the only light was the faint glow from Virala's skin. Leon's breathing was ragged, his mind racing with questions he couldn't yet ask. Behind them, the creature's metallic footsteps echoed, relentless and unyielding. It was faster than Leon had thought, and its growls grew louder with every step. "Where are we going?" Leon shouted, his voice bouncing off the walls. Virala didn't respond. Instead, she stopped abruptly and placed her hand against the wall. The symbols around her lit up, and the wall began to shift, revealing the hidden passage. She pushed Leon through just as the creature rounded the corner, its glowing red eyes locking onto them once more. The wall slid shut behind them with a heavy thud, sealing the creature on the other side. For a moment, there was silence. Then the sound of claws scraping against metal began, the creature trying to tear its way through. Leon slumped against the wall, his chest heaving. "Okay, what the hell was that?" Virala knelt beside him, her expression softening. She placed her hand on his chest, her touch cool and soothing. "Danger," she said, her voice heavily accented but clear. "Machine. Gone wrong." Leon blinked. She could speak, sort of. "That thing. It's a machine." She nodded, her silver hair catching the faint light. "This place. Old. Forgotten. Machines. Protect. But broken." Leon processed her words, piecing together the fragments. This island was some kind of outpost, and those machines were meant to protect it. "Yes," she said simply. Then her expression darkened. "But now, kill." Leon shuddered. "Great. And you? How did you end up here?" Virala hesitated, her glowing eyes dimming slightly. Prisoner, she said finally. Punished. For choice. Her words sent a chill down Leon's spine. Punished by who? And what kind of choice had landed her in that pod? Before he could ask, the wall behind them began to buckle. The creature was breaking through. Virella stood quickly, her calm composure replaced by urgency. She grabbed Leon's arm and pulled him deeper into the passage. The tunnel sloped downward, the air growing colder and more oppressive. They emerged into another chamber, smaller but filled with strange devices and glowing panels. Virella moved to one of the panels and began pressing symbols. The room lit up, and a holographic map of the island appeared in the air. Leon stared in awe. The map showed the entire island, and it was clear now that the place was riddled with underground structures and tunnels. Escape, Virella said, pointing to a glowing point on the map. It was on the far side of the island. Need. Power. Leon nodded, though he had no idea what she meant. All right, but what about that thing out there? It's not going to stop hunting us. Virella turned to him, her expression unreadable. Not just one, she said softly. Many. Leon's stomach dropped. Many. Before he could say more, the chamber shook violently. The creature had found another way in, and this time, it wasn't alone. The sound of multiple roars filled the air, and the scraping of claws grew deafening. Virella reached out and touched Leon's arm. Trust me, she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. We fight, or die. Leon swallowed hard and nodded. Let's fight. As the creatures burst into the chamber, Leon raised his knife, his heart pounding. He didn't know what he had gotten himself into, but one thing was certain. He wasn't going down without a fight. Secrets of the island. The chamber exploded into chaos as the creatures surged forward, their glowing red eyes burning through the dim light. Leon stood his ground, gripping his knife, even though he knew it was laughably small against the massive, clawed monstrosities. But Virella moved like lightning. Her hands glowed with a faint, silvery energy as she raised them, and a shimmering barrier erupted between them and the advancing creatures. The monsters collided with the barrier, their metallic claws screeching against its surface, but it held. For now. Leon's jaw dropped. What? How are you doing that? Virella didn't answer. Sweat beaded on her pale blue skin as she maintained the barrier. Move, she shouted, her accent sharper, but her meaning unmistakable. Leon didn't need to be told twice. He scrambled toward a narrow corridor at the back of the chamber, Virella following close behind. The creatures howled, the sound reverberating through the metallic walls, and Leon couldn't help but glance back. The barrier flickered, and one of the beasts began forcing its way through, its metal body contorting unnaturally. As they raced through the corridor, Virella pulled a small glowing device from a pocket in her tattered clothing. She pressed a series of symbols, and the walls behind them shifted, sealing off the passage. The creatures pounded against the barrier, but it held for now. Leon leaned against the wall, gasping for air. You have to tell me what's going on. What are those things? What is this place? Virella looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with an emotion Leon couldn't place. Was it fear? Regret? This island is prison, she said finally. For them. For me. Forgotten by my people, but not dead. Leon frowned. Prison? You're saying those things were left here, to rot? She nodded. Machines. Protectors. But she hesitated, searching for the right words. Broken. Angry. No purpose. Now they hunt. Leon rubbed his face, trying to make sense of it all. Great. So we're stuck on a forgotten alien prison island, surrounded by killer robots with anger issues. Fantastic. Virella tilted her head, not understanding his sarcasm, but before she could respond, the corridor shook violently. A deep, rhythmic thudding sound echoed toward them, growing louder. Leon's eyes widened. What now? Virella pressed her glowing device again, and a section of the wall slid open, revealing a staircase spiraling downward. She grabbed Leon's arm. "Come." Answers, below. The staircase led them into a cavernous space, unlike anything Leon had ever seen. The walls were lined with massive, pulsating tubes filled with a glowing green liquid. Inside the tubes floated more of the hybrid creatures, their forms twisted and incomplete, as if they had been abandoned mid-creation. Leon's stomach turned. "What is this place?" Virala's voice was quiet, almost reverent. "Lab, my people, create protectors here." But something went wrong. She gestured to the tubes. Machines turned against us. They killed everyone. Leon stared at the creatures in the tubes, his mind reeling. If they killed everyone, why are you still here? Why were you in that pod? Virala hesitated, her glowing eyes dimming slightly. "I disobeyed. Tried to stop them. My people. Punish me. Leave me to die here." Leon felt a surge of anger. "They left you here. With these things." She nodded, her expression unreadable. "My crime. Mercy. Machines were not just tools. They feel. I tried to help them. My people did not understand." Leon was about to respond when a low mechanical hum filled the air. One of the tubes began to glow brighter, and a creature inside twitched. Virala's eyes widened. No, they wake. The tube shattered, and a creature inside lunged out, its incomplete body writhing as it scrambled toward them. Leon barely had time to react before Virala stepped forward, her hands glowing with that strange, silvery energy. The creature froze mid-attack, its body convulsing as Virala spoke in her strange, melodic language. For a moment, it seemed to calm, its glowing red eyes flickering to a soft blue. Leon watched in awe. "You're controlling it." Virala shook her head. "Not control. Calm." She turned to Leon, her voice urgent. "Others will wake. We must leave." As they navigated deeper into the underground complex, Leon began to notice more strange symbols etched into the walls. Some glowed faintly, while others remained dark. Virala stopped at one of the symbols and placed her hand on it. The wall lit up, revealing a holographic interface. She pressed several symbols, and a map of the complex appeared. Leon leaned closer, his eyes scanning the glowing lines. "Is that a way out?" Virala nodded. "Yes, but..." Her voice trailed off, and her expression darkened. "Not easy." Leon followed her gaze to a large glowing chamber marked on the map. Surrounding it were dozens of red dots, moving slowly but deliberately. "What are those?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "Guardians," Virala said softly. "Stronger, smarter, protect. Main gate." Leon exhaled sharply. "Of course they do. So what's the plan?" Virala turned to him, her glowing eyes meeting his. "We fight together." Leon nodded, gripping his knife tighter. "All right then, let's do this." As they set off toward the glowing chamber, Leon couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. The enemy within. The underground passage grew darker as Leon and Virala approached the main gate. The hum of ancient machinery filled the air, a low, rhythmic pulse that vibrated through the walls. Every step felt heavier, the weight of what lay ahead pressing down on Leon's chest. As they neared the glowing chamber, Virala stopped abruptly. She raised her hand, signaling Leon to stay silent. Her glowing eyes narrowed as she scanned the shadows. "What is it?" Leon whispered, gripping his knife tightly. "Not alone," Virala replied, her voice barely audible. The shadows shifted, and from the darkness stepped a figure, humanoid but wrong. Its metallic limbs gleamed under the faint light, and its face was a distorted imitation of something human. Red eyes glowed like coals as it tilted its head, studying them. Leon's stomach twisted. "That's different." Virala's expression hardened. "Advanced guardian. Smarter, more dangerous." Before Leon could respond, the Guardian spoke, its voice a harsh blend of static and words. Virala, you should not be here. Leon froze. It knows you. Virala didn't answer. She stepped forward, her voice steady. Let us pass. We seek escape. The Guardian's head twitched violently, its voice shifting to a mocking tone. Escape? There is no escape. You belong here, with us. Without warning, it lunged. Virala reacted instantly, her hands glowing, as she created a shimmering barrier. The Guardian slammed into it, its claws sparking against the energy field. Leon moved to help, but Virala shouted, No, not this way. Run. The Guardian's strength was overwhelming, and cracks began to form in the barrier. Leon hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to fight, but Virala's desperate gaze left no room for argument. He turned and sprinted toward the glowing chamber, the sound of the Guardian's snarls echoing behind him. The chamber was massive, its walls lined with towering pillars that pulsed with energy. At its center stood a massive gate, its surface covered in intricate symbols that shifted and glowed. Leon approached cautiously, his eyes scanning for more Guardians. The gate loomed before him, an ominous barrier between them and freedom. Then he saw it. A small console sat near the base of the gate, its surface flickering with alien symbols. Leon reached out hesitantly, but before he could touch it, a voice echoed through the chamber. You should not be here, Captain Hunter. Leon spun around, his heart hammering. From the shadows emerged another figure. But this one wasn't a machine. It was a man, a human, or at least it looked human. The man's features were sharp, his dark eyes piercing as he stepped into the light. His uniform was unfamiliar, but his presence radiated authority. Who are you? Leon demanded, raising his knife. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. An overseer, a watcher. And you, Captain, are in over your head. Leon tightened his grip on the knife. You're working with those machines. The man chuckled. Working with them? No. I control them. This island, this prison, it's my domain. Leon's mind raced. Why? Why trap her? Why trap anyone? The man's expression darkened. Virala is a traitor. She betrayed her people. And you. He stepped closer, his tone growing colder. You are nothing more than an intruder, a complication. Before Leon could respond, the sound of a struggle erupted from the corridor. Virala burst into the chamber, her glowing energy crackling around her. She looked battered but unbroken, her eyes blazing with defiance. Overseer, she spat, her voice filled with venom. The man turned to her, his smile returning. Virala, how fitting that we meet here, at the end. The tension in the room was electric. Leon glanced between Virala and the overseer, his grip tightening on the knife. What's going on? What does he want? Virala didn't look at him. Her focus was entirely on the overseer. He, control prison, control machines. He is, reason they turned. The overseer's laugh was cold. And yet you still don't understand. The machines didn't turn, Virala. They evolved. I simply gave them the freedom your people denied. Leon's eyes widened. You're the reason this place became a death trap. The overseer shrugged. Progress always comes at a cost. Before anyone could react, the walls around them began to hum, and from hidden compartments emerged more Guardians. They moved with eerie precision, surrounding the group. Leon's chest tightened. We're outnumbered. Virala stepped forward, her energy flaring brighter. Not yet. She raised her hands, and the chamber erupted in light. The Guardians faltered, their movements jerky as if caught in a conflict. Virala's power seemed to ripple through the room, disrupting their control. The overseer frowned, his calm demeanor cracking. You think you can stop me? You think you can save him? Virala didn't answer. Instead, she turned to Leon. The gate. Open it. Now. Leon didn't need to be told twice. He rushed to the console, his fingers fumbling as he tried to decipher the symbols. Behind him, the battle raged, Virala holding the Guardians at bay while the Overseer watched with cold intensity. The console beeped, and the gate began to shift, its surface splitting open to reveal a blinding light. The Overseer snarled, his composure finally breaking. "No, you cannot leave." Leon turned to Virala. "It's open. Let's go." But Virala didn't move. She stood firm, her glowing energy now blazing like a star. "I stay," she said softly. Leon's heart sank. "What? No, we can both make it." She shook her head. "The gate needs power. My power. Go. Live." Before Leon could argue, the Guardian surged forward, and Virala unleashed a final devastating wave of energy. The chamber shook violently, and the last thing Leon saw was her glowing form as the gate pulled him into the light. The alien armada. The blinding light faded, and Leon found himself sprawled on the soft grass of a cliffside overlooking a vast ocean. He blinked, disoriented, as the sounds of crashing waves and chirping alien birds replaced the chaos of the chamber. The gate behind him had vanished, leaving no trace of the underground complex or Virala's sacrifice. For a moment, Leon simply sat there, breathing in the fresh air and trying to calm his racing heart. But peace didn't last. A low rumble broke through the calm, and Leon looked up to see the sky shifting. Dark shapes emerged from the horizon, massive angular vessels that moved with an eerie silence. The air grew heavy, and a faint vibration hummed through the ground as the ships approached. Leon's stomach tightened. No, not now. The ships descended slowly, their sleek surfaces glinting under the alien sun. As they came closer, Leon could see the intricate designs etched into their hulls, symbols that looked eerily similar to those he had seen in the underground chambers. One of the vessels, larger than the rest, hovered directly above the cliff. Its underside opened, and a smaller craft detached, descending toward him with precision. Leon scrambled to his feet, instinctively gripping his knife, though he knew it was useless against whatever was coming. The craft landed smoothly, and a ramp extended with a soft hiss. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a figure emerged, a tall alien clad in dark armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Its face was obscured by a mask, but its movements were deliberate, exuding authority. Leon stepped back, his instincts screaming at him to run, but the figure raised a hand in a gesture of peace. "Leon Hunter," it said, its voice deep and resonant. "We mean no harm." Leon narrowed his eyes. "Yeah, because everyone I've met here has been so friendly." The figure tilted its head slightly. "You misunderstand. We are not the guardians of the prison. We are something else." Leon hesitated. "Who are you? And why are you here?" The alien stepped closer, the light glinting off its armor. "We are the Fleet of Remembrance. We have come to reclaim what was left behind." Leon's mind raced. "Left behind? You're talking about Virala, aren't you?" The alien paused. "She is part of it. But there is more." Before Leon could press further, the ground trembled again. This time, it wasn't the ships. It was something below. Leon turned to see the island itself shifting, great cracks forming as parts of the ground collapsed into hidden chambers. The alien's voice was urgent. "The prison is failing. The guardians are no longer contained. If we do not act, they will spread beyond this island." Leon clenched his fists. "And what do you expect me to do about it?" The alien's glowing eyes behind the mask seemed to pierce through him. "You escaped the prison. You carry its mark. That makes you part of this now." Leon shook his head. "No, no way. I didn't sign up for this." The alien's tone hardened. "You have no choice. If we fail, your people will be next." As the alien spoke, a deafening roar split the air. From the collapsing island emerged the Guardians, more massive and monstrous than before. They swarmed like a tidal wave of metal and rage, their glowing red eyes fixed on the ships above. The fleet reacted instantly. The massive vessels in the sky unleashed beams of energy, cutting through the advancing swarm. Explosions lit up the horizon, but the Guardians pressed on, relentless. The alien turned to Leon. "Come with me. There is still a chance to stop this." Leon hesitated, torn between the urge to run and the growing realization that there was nowhere to run to. Finally, he nodded. "Fine. But if this gets me killed, I'm blaming you." The alien didn't respond. It simply led Leon up the ramp and into the ship. Inside, the ship was a stark contrast to the chaos outside. The walls were smooth and glowing with a soft blue light, and the air was cool and still. Other aliens moved with purpose, their expressions focused but tense. The armored alien guided Leon to a central chamber, where a holographic display showed the island and the swarm of Guardians filling into the ocean. Leon pointed at the display. "How do we stop that?" The alien gestured to a glowing console. "The prison's core still functions. If we can access it, we can activate a failsafe. It will destroy the Guardians, but the island will be lost." Leon's chest tightened. "And Virala? What happens to her?" The alien hesitated. "If she remains, she will be lost as well." Leon's fists clenched. "No, there has to be another way." The alien's voice softened. "Sometimes sacrifice is necessary." Leon looked at the display, his mind racing. The Guardians were spreading fast, and the fleet was struggling to contain them. He knew time was running out, but the thought of leaving Virala behind gnawed at him. Suddenly, the console flickered, and a familiar voice filled the chamber. "Leon." His breath caught. "Virala." Her image appeared on the display, flickering but clear. She looked tired, her glowing eyes dim, but her voice was steady. "I have control of the core," she said. "You must leave." Leon shook his head. "No, I'm not leaving without you." Her expression softened. "You must. The core requires a connection. I cannot leave." The alien beside Leon spoke. "She speaks the truth. If she remains, the failsafe can be activated." Leon's voice cracked. "There has to be another way." Virala smiled faintly. "Leon, you gave me a chance to fight. That is enough. Now go. Live." The display cut off, and the ship trembled as the core's energy began to surge. The alien grabbed Leon's arm, pulling him toward the exit. Leon resisted for a moment, but deep down, he knew there was no time. As the ship ascended, he watched the island erupt in a blinding light, the Guardians consumed in the explosion. And then there was silence. Battle for survival. The silence was deafening as Leon stood on the deck of the alien ship, staring at the glowing remnants of the island below. The explosion had swallowed the prison and its Guardians, leaving nothing but swirling debris and faint energy waves rippling across the ocean. But this wasn't victory. "Is it over?" Leon asked, his voice hollow. The armored alien beside him didn't respond immediately. Its glowing eyes scanned the horizon, then flicked toward the fleet's displays inside the ship. "The island is gone, but the threat is not." Leon turned sharply. "What do you mean?" "The Guardians are gone. Virala. She." His voice caught. The alien's voice was grim. The Guardians were only part of the danger. The prison core was designed to suppress something greater. Without it, the failsafe has released them. Leon felt the blood drain from his face. "Them? Who's them?" The alien gestured to a holographic map that shimmered into view. Above the ocean, storm-like distortions were spreading, dark and crackling with energy. Shapes moved within them, massive, serpentine figures that seemed to shift between mechanical and organic forms. "The first creations," the alien said, "older than the Guardians, more powerful. They were sealed in the ocean's depths when the core was built. Now, they are free." Leon stared at the map in disbelief. You're telling me we just unleashed something worse? The alien nodded. Yes, and they will not stop until all is consumed. The ship's alarms blared, and a holographic display shifted to show one of the massive figures rising from the ocean. Its body was a nightmarish fusion of jagged metal and pulsating flesh, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Around it, the ocean churned violently, sending waves crashing into the remnants of the fleet. Leon clenched his fists. So what's the plan? We can't fight those things with knives and hope. The alien turned to him. We have weapons, but the energy signatures of these entities are unlike anything we've encountered. Our fleet's firepower may not be enough. Leon looked at the display, his mind racing. What about Virala's connection to the core? She said she was connected. Is there anything left of that? The alien hesitated. The core's physical structure is gone, but its energy may still exist within her. If she survived. Leon's heart leaped. She's alive. You think she's still down there? Uncertain, the alien replied. But if she is, her power could disrupt the entities. Leon's voice grew firm. Then we find her. I didn't come this far to let her sacrifice go to waste. The alien ship descended toward the ocean, its sleek hull cutting through the swirling storms. The air crackled with energy, and the ship trembled as the massive figures loomed closer. Each movement of the entities sent shockwaves rippling through the water, their presence a terrifying display of raw power. Leon stood in the ship's hold, strapping on a harness as the alien handed him a device that pulsed with a faint blue glow. What's this? Leon asked, examining it. Beacon, the alien explained. It will amplify her signal, if she is alive. You must plant it at the ocean's center, near where the core once rested. Leon nodded, swallowing his fear. And if she's not? The alien's silence was answer enough. The small landing craft broke through the storm, its engines straining against the winds. Leon gritted his teeth as the craft rocked violently, water spraying against the windows. The sea below was a chaotic expanse of waves and glowing energy. Suddenly, the craft's systems flickered. We're losing power, the pilot shouted. The alien beside Leon pressed its hand to the console, stabilizing the craft. The entities are disrupting our systems. We must hurry. Leon grabbed the beacon and prepared to dive. The hatch opened, and the roar of the storm filled the cabin. For a moment, he hesitated, staring into the chaotic abyss below. Then he jumped. The ocean swallowed him instantly, the freezing water shocking his system. The beacon's glow provided faint light as he descended, the currents pulling him toward the depths. Shapes moved in the darkness around him, massive and slow, their presence more felt than seen. Leon's breathing was rapid, his heart pounding in his ears. He clutched the beacon tightly, its glow intensifying as he neared the ocean floor. And then he saw her. Virala floated amidst the wreckage of the core, her body surrounded by a faint silver light. Her eyes were closed, and her movements were slow, as if she were suspended between life and death. Leon swam toward her, the beacon pulsing as it connected to her energy. Virala, he shouted, though the water swallowed his voice. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing brighter as she looked at him. Her expression was one of exhaustion and relief. Leon, you came. He reached out, his hand finding hers. You're not doing this alone. Let's finish it. Virala's energy surged as the beacon connected fully, sending a wave of light rippling through the water. The massive entities above roared, their forms convulsing as the energy disrupted their connection to the physical world. Leon felt the water around them grow still, the chaos subsiding as Virala's power spread. Her voice echoed in his mind, soft but resolute. This is the end. For them. For me. No. Leon shouted, gripping her hand tighter. We'll find another way. She shook her head, her glowing eyes meeting his. This is the way, Leon. You gave me hope. Now I give you freedom. Before he could stop her, Virala released a final, blinding surge of energy. The ocean erupted in light, and the entities dissolved into nothingness. Leon was thrown upward, the force of the explosion propelling him to the surface. He gasped for air as he broke through the waves. The storm now eerily calm. The fleet hovered above, and a rescue craft descended to pull him aboard. As he sat in the craft, drenched and exhausted, he looked back at the ocean, searching for any sign of Virala. There was none. Sacrifice and legacy. The rescue craft soared toward the fleet's main ship, leaving the calm but eerie ocean behind. Leon sat in silence, his clothes soaked and his heart heavy. The storm had cleared, and the massive figures that once loomed over the ocean were gone, but the emptiness that filled him was impossible to ignore. "Virala," he whispered, staring out the window. "You deserved better." The alien commander, the same one who had guided him earlier, approached quietly. Its glowing eyes softened as it spoke. Her sacrifice ensured the survival of many. She will not be forgotten. Leon turned, anger flashing in his eyes. That's not good enough. She wasn't just some tool to stop those things. She was alive. She deserved a chance. The commander hesitated. Then it reached into its cloak and produced a small glowing device, a crystalline orb that pulsed faintly with silver light. "What is that?" Leon asked, his voice wary. The commander placed the orb in his hands. A fragment of her essence. Before the end, she left this behind. "For you." Leon stared at the orb, its faint light flickering like a heartbeat. He could feel something within it, a presence, warm and familiar. "She knew," the commander continued. "She believed you would carry her legacy forward." Back aboard the fleet's mothership, Leon stood in the observation deck, the orb still cradled in his hands. The wreckage of the prison island had vanished beneath the waves, leaving only ripples as a reminder of what had happened. The commander approached again, this time carrying a holographic device. A map appeared, displaying dozens of marked locations scattered across the galaxy. "These," the commander explained, "are the remnants of our people's past. Places like the prison, forgotten but not destroyed. Each one holds dangers and truths." Leon looked at the map, the weight of the orb in his hand grounding him. "You want me to help you find them?" The commander nodded. "You understand what is at stake. These remnants must either be contained or reclaimed." Leon's mind raced. He thought of Virala, of her fight to stop the Guardians, her belief in the possibility of redemption. He knew what she would have done. He clenched the orb tighter and turned to the commander. "I'll do it, but not for you. For her." As the fleet prepared for departure, Leon stood in the ship's hangar, staring at a sleek, newly repaired craft. Its hull bore the markings of both human and alien design, a gift from the fleet to aid him on his journey. The commander joined him one last time. "Your path will be difficult. These remnants will not welcome you. But if you succeed, you will honor her sacrifice." Leon nodded, stepping into the craft. "I'll find the truth, and I'll make sure her story is never forgotten." The ship's engines roared to life, and as Leon guided it out of the hangar, the orb pulsed faintly in the co-pilot's seat. He could almost hear her voice, calm and steady. "You are not alone, Leon." He smiled faintly, determination replacing his grief. The galaxy stretched before him, vast and full of mystery. Virala's legacy lived on, not just in the orb, but in the choices he would make and the lives he would save. As he activated the ship's star charts, he set a course for the first marked location. The stars shimmered in the distance, and for the first time, he felt ready to face whatever lay ahead.